usual, this markup really misses the mark. If the majority is serious about making the Internal Revenue Service work better, it would not be cutting its funding. We know that shortening the IRS budget is really short-circuiting the collection of taxes, that for every additional dollar spent on enforcement, we get an estimated $4 in increased revenue. I think what is particularly shocking really about today's hearing and today's set of legislation are not the particulars, but that after all that occurred last week, the focus of the misconduct this week is not where that focus should be. We heard a significant amount about money laundering, about tax dodging, about illegal and legal activity to avoid responsibility for paying for our national security. From the 11.5 million files that were released last week that are called the Panama Papers, detailing how the wealthiest use offshore tax havens to avoid paying their fair share. The Panama Papers show the importance of international cooperation to prevent international lawlessness. So we know that this week, in response to the Panama Papers, the European Union is trying to do something about it. Instead, this committee meets the disclosures in the Panama Papers with inaction. The money laundering that helps organized crime, that helps terrorist networks, that helps those who don't want to pay their fair share is ignored once again by this committee. And in fact, there's discussion in this committee of having not more, but less international cooperation with opposition to the base erosion and profit shifting agreements, modest as they may be, that are designed to encourage multinationals from secreting their income as stateless income. The chairman is absolutely correct that there are people out there today working on getting their taxes filed, families that are struggling to make ends meet, that are going through complicated tax forms, trying to figure out how they'll get their payments and their estimated tax payments made. There are small businesses that are out there feeling that they have a tax burden that they have to solve. They should recognize that there's some people who respond to those difficulties in a little different way. Just hide the money in Panama. Just get an expensive set of accountants and consultants and tax lawyers to help you dodge and hide your profits abroad so that you don't have to pay the same rate that that small business or that individual family has to pay. Only because of efforts that Mr. Levin, myself, and a number of other members made did we succeed in getting a tax information agreement with Panama because Panama wanted a free trade agreement approved here. They finally agreed to that agreement. The Internal Revenue Service needs to have the resources to use that agreement now to ask Panama to produce any bank records that it locates on what we know already from the disclosures in the Panama Papers are about 200 Americans that are named and their shell corporations and their dealings with this law firm in Panama at the center of the discussion. This morning, we could be focused on genuine misconduct. The misconduct that I seek to deal with in the Stop Tax Haven Abuse Act that is designed to address concerns about tax dodging, tax avoidance that would mean billions of additional dollars to address our national debt, to address our other responsibilities. There was another significant development last week that involved misconduct that also this committee is ignoring once again, and that is the inversion crisis. The fact that one corporation after another wants to renounce its American citizenship, keep all the benefits of being American, but not pay the price of our national security. Fortunately, the Treasury finally acted, perhaps incompletely, but at least enough to deal with one of the worst of these inversions. Pfizer, the company that enjoys charging Americans 10 to 12 times as much for prescription drugs as it does its Irish customers, but wants to pay only Irish taxes. There's great progress in seeing that that inversion will not happen now, but there's much more work that needs to be done. What we need is a commitment to address tax fairness and equity instead of the indifference that we see on display once again today. And I yield back.
Thank you.